Hey, what's up, everybody? So today I'm going to be trying to set up a scene for a story that I'm working on, and my issue is that I have pretty low VRAM, only 6 GB Nvidia graphics card, which heads and tails above what I used to have with my old PC. In fact, the PC I'm using for the actual to check chat and all that stuff right now, but still very low when it comes to running the DAZ Studio DAZ 3D program. So I'm gonna have to get really creative with getting this scene the way I want it. So first thing I'm gonna do, I just restarted DAZ Studio, and the reason why is that this dedicated GPU memory down below here um, doesn't it starts if you don't restart DAZ Studio every once in a while. This starts getting higher even when you're not really doing anything. So sometimes you just got to clear the memory out a little bit. Right now, let me see what I'll. This is going to be really important to keep an eye on because not only am I doing DAZ Studio right now, but I've also have Streamlabs obviously open or OBS open. That's the way I'm streaming right now. So that's going to be using up some of my computing power. So I really have to be careful, really careful with how I do these scenes. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get the scenes rendered the way I want to. So if we look at the processes right now, my CPU OBS is using up about 32% of my CPU, which is a little bit high. Oh, the Jags won today. Nice, eat my bullets. So you don't get to say that very often, so that's kind of nice. So right now we're only using about 0.7 of the GPU out of my 6 GB. Let's see. Oops, where did that just go? Hold on just a second. That's the processes. The GPU, and yeah, that OBS is using a majority of the GPU also that's being used right now. In fact, if we go to GPU usage, we are looking at pretty much all of it being used by OBS. So I'm gonna have to be really judicial with my graphics card here. Hey, what's up, SWE Pro? Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, there's some crazy things going on right now with NFL. There's a lot of different opportunities. Yeah, a lot of opportunities for teams to make it in right now. Okay, so we're looking at that. We're going to keep an eye on the CPU, the memory. Not as worried about the memory as I am the CPU and this GPU. So we're going to load a scene. Load the scene that I'm working on. Princess Venora in it. And we're going to see what happens to these numbers and see exactly what we can, we're going to see if we could get the scene done, or if I'm going to, I mean, I could get the scene done. It's just, am I going to be able to get the scene done while I'm also streaming using up part of my CPU and my VRAM? You're going to get is it a a Rubik's Cube world record, or that's what I'm guessing. They beat the Packers. Holy crap. All right. So the scene is loading in right now. CPU is up to 56%. We're at 34% on the memory. The GPU hasn't changed at all. One thing also about this DAZ Studio stuff is the more you add to it, the longer it takes to load in. So as I get new assets, it takes longer to load in. Once it's loaded up, though, usually doesn't matter that much. So we're gonna go here. We're at 1.1 on the dedicated GPU. But one thing I'm pretty sure on is if I can hit my Nvidia Ira Preview, which is gonna show me what the scene would look like if I were to render it right now, and that's gonna use up. I guarantee you that there's almost no way with it the way it is right now that I'll be able to keep this on my graphics card. Fastest time called Shift. Oh, very nice. Always follow your dreams. All right, so we're gonna look. We're at 100% on our CPU. No, dipping down. That's another cool thing about this is sometimes when you start rendering a scene, it will dip up pretty hardcore in the like the CPU stuff like that. And then once it kind of settles the scene, it'll come down a little bit. That dedicated GPU right now is at what 5.8 out of 6, which means it is dangerously close. Like if I were to add anything more to the scene, it would stop trying to render this on the GPU, go all to CPU. It would go slow as hell, and it literally just wouldn't render. Plain and simply would not render, or would render extremely, extremely slow, I should say, which obviously isn't going to work. Our other problems here is that, our lighting. I've got a spotlight in here, so I could definitely, if I look at this through the spotlight view. Let's see how long it takes for this to get in there. We see that we're not quite on her, so if we just move on the wire, rotate just a little bit, move that over. No, went the wrong way. I think I went the wrong way. Is the stream freezing? Yeah, I kind of wonder if I'm putting too much stress on my CPU right now. Trying to run OBS, DAZ Studio, and all this. It might be just too much for it, but let me see something here real quick. All right, I got the light on her. Yeah, so no matter what I do, unless if I really, really, really kick up the spotlight, like a lot, it's not going to do any good there. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that spotlight off because we're going to do some artificial lighting. All right, talk to you later, SWB Pro. We're going to turn this spotlight off. Going to make things a lot darker in there. One thing we can do is we could go to environmental settings. And we could do a couple things here. If I go to my environmental settings and up the intensity of this sky right here is basically an HDRI. So it's lighting the scene with the information from that background. So if I increase the intensity of that, it's going to have more light coming through there. But the angle on that, so basically the only light coming in through that tent is this little bit of blue right here. That's the only light that's making it in there. It is, if you notice the grass out there, that's pretty light because that sky is hitting that. And so there's probably a little reflection. There's probably a little reflectivity of that green coming in here. So there's probably mostly this blue. A little bit of this green is lighting her right now, which obviously isn't going to do. However, if we were to go and hide the tent, do that real quick. Yeah, I need to get a new computer. I do know that. Most definitely need to get. Hey, what's up, Josh? Yeah, so if we take it now we hid the tent. So now we have all of this blue right here in the background that's lighting her up. So it's a lot of light. In fact, probably too much. If we look at our stuff here, we're at about 55% of CPU, which, yeah, it's still more on the OBS than there is in the, on the DAZ Studio. One thing I think I can do is I believe, and I just got to figure this out, I think that I can take the stuff that's coming from my computer that I use for DAZ Studio and send it to my other computer, which has the and then use that to run the OBS on. I might try to do that. I'm not sure. I mean, not right now, but might see if I can get that set up. But either way, I mean, if we look at this, because I still need to add another character in here. And so with that being said, there's just no way. If I add another character in here, this is all of a sudden, this is going to go to what, it's at 5.5. It's going to get over 6 gigabytes, and then it's going to all go to CPU, and it's basically going to freeze everything. So no, we can't do that way. Let's put the tent back on. And we're going to go out here. We're going to go texture shaded, so that's going to really drop a lot of the usage of the CPU and the GPU. So just drop down to 2.2 on the GPU. So I'll be able to do a few things here. Oh, to add some, they're going to let me do that. There we go. Artificial lighting in the scenes. Now, the other thing I'm not a huge fan of, so right now, the way I've got this scene set, it just looks like, you know, you got the sky up here. And it just, there's nothing behind here. So I'm kind of wondering if I want to put some stuff maybe just way back there. Or let's get a perspective view so we can... One thing is with this is you want to use your different cameras. I got that, the main camera I'm using exactly where I want it. Oh, let's do, that camera is moving so freaking slow. Let's go hit a top view. That is strange that I can't see the grass. That is very strange. Oh, yeah. My dad's studio crashed. Hold on just a second. The sad thing is I don't think I hit a save on any of that. I don't think I made any changes, so I was just kind of going through and seeing what I could get in there. So loading this back up. Let's get that scene reloaded. But kind of explaining what I'm going to do. This is going to end up, to make this happen, it's going to end up being like 4 different images, I think. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. What a sucker, anyways. It's not like many people are watching this, putting a link in the comments and not even doing them any good. But you know what? I have one of these that I did a couple weeks ago, and that one's getting, you know, 20 to 40 views a day right now. One of these Dad Studio live streams. So I think it's up close to like 300 plus views on it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get creative with how I do this, because it's definitely going pretty slow right now. All right, so we've got this set up right here. What is, oh, it's I'm pretty sure that it's just it was a link to some website. It was just a spammer. That's all it was. All right, so oh gosh, where do I want to go into my perspective view? We're gonna hit Control L so we can put some artificial light into the scene. Now it doesn't actually add light to the scene. If I rendered, none of the light I just added there is going to actually be added. If we go, let's go up. We go up here. I feel like there's some hills over here, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to add anything to that very background, because once again, I'm kind of... Oh, let's see what our options are. What do I have for some stuff that I could possibly put back there that could just kind of, you know, right now the depth on it, if we look at through the camera and we look out through that tent, like it just, you know, it's basically there's land and then there's sky. That's not exactly how things work in the real world. Well, this isn't the real world. This is a different world, but you know what I'm saying. If we go to outside, I could definitely put some trees back there. I wonder, let's go back to perspective view. I wonder if I can put some, let's see what those do. Let's see if I can put those like way back here or something. Let's see what happens. Yep, 599 subs. Beautiful. Oh, yeah, that's, yeah, I don't like that. Those aren't going to work. That's for sure. Look at parent. What the fuck is. All right. Definitely don't like that. Funky forest. Oh, let's see. I just need some props. I could just do these background trees here, but there's such a different a look to them versus these. Like these are so like bland that I feel like if I put those way out there, it's just not gonna look right. Um I've gotta have some kind of just a little bit of props. What I'd love is to be able to find just a group of trees. Well, we got this. That's these palm tree groups. Do I got, is there just like a, got these. Got that terrain. I don't really want that. Walk. I do need to find some more just background stuff, like groups of things that I could put in a background to kind of create more of a depth. Instant grass. No, I don't like the look of that instant grass at all. No. That's another thing I need to do is I need to go in and re what am I thinking? I need to name a lot of these things because they're basically named by the company that made them, and that really doesn't do anything for me. Medieval campsite. Some of this stuff might be okay, but once again, I'm not worried about things that are going to look like it's within the campsite. I'm just looking for some stuff to make them, to add some depth is basically what it is. When I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna have to go these randomized tree. See, I know I could do this, but let's see if it'll let me. Let's go to perspective. Oh no, I'm already on perspective view. So those trees are not in that. So I need to, okay, from the tent. No, actually, I'm overthinking this. Let's do this. Let's hide the tent so I can see those trees back there. Okay, they're way over here. So we're gonna take these trees and we're gonna move them. Let's see. Nope, I moved them the wrong way, I think. If I remember right, this is the tree that we want to line up on. Okay, let's take the same one and we'll move him. Do 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 do. Oh, come on, second tree. Get in the frame. Let's see. Let's bring that tent back into play. Still not. Okay. Right here. So it's this tree right here. So that's where we need to we need to get them like right in here. So let's see. We still need a little bit more. Let's just change it. Let's see. What if we put it at 2,000, 3,000? There we go. There we go. That might work. And let's take this other one. Oh, dude, what the heck? I didn't push any of that. X translate 2,800. Now let's look to this event. Ooh, still just not quite where I want it. So that one's fine. Looks like it's this one. We might need to pull it back just a little bit more. Nope, nope. That was wrong. At least I've got a decent idea where. Let's see. Might have to go like a way bigger number. I might have to go like 4,000. The other thing too is I might need to bring them back. Let's try. Okay, let's go 3,500 again. All right, so now that tree's with the trees out there. Let's go to the other tree. Let's bring, okay, Z translate. Let's go 3,200. Yeah, that might be. All right, so let's, just so we can get a better view of what's going on there, because right now, I know I've got her where I want her. Got you where I want you. So I don't really need to have her showing in this scene, because all that's doing is just eating up some VRAM. And when I render this, I'm going to render her separately. So there's, well, a couple things that I'm making sure that I'm doing right here when I set the scene for these photos is I'm making sure that none of the scenery is in front of her. And if there is scenery in front of her, I'm going to make sure that it's something that's not part of a group. So in other words, all these pillows are part of the same object, which means that I can't just hide one pillow. So when I render her in this scene, if I had a pillow in front of her, I would have to keep that in that render to make it look right. But then if there's also these pillows behind her, I would have to render that as a different scene. And let's just put it this way: it's not going to work right there. So we want to make sure that, unfortunately, we want to make sure that we have these pillows and stuff like that, that there's not any that are showing in front of her right now. Now I could add, if I wanted to add something for like depth, and maybe I'll do that. Like, is there some kind of prop here that looks like it would fit within this stuff? Or the orcish, is it the orcish campsite? Is that what? No, that's not what we're using. We're using the, I think it's a medieval campsite. Oasis camp, that's what it is, I think. Objects. So we could do, let's see. Is this just the one cushion or is this all of them? So what I could do to kind of add a little bit of layer to this and add a little bit of like, oh no, that's not what I meant to do. I thought I was on the, I could take this and I could kind of rotate it. I could have that in front of her. The only problem is that I already have images in another scene already, and that's not in the scene. Yeah, for continuity issues, I'm not going to do that. But I could very easily put that there, and then I would just render that cushion with her. But no, right now we're going to do this, and let's take and do an Nvidia Ira preview. While that's previewing, I'm going to go grab some more coffee. I shall be right back. Yeah, that looks better with those trees kind of back there, kind of giving it a little bit of depth or whatever. Still not 100% excited about this just because it just looks like the land ends and then there's the sky, which isn't unreasonable. I mean, for all we know, this is the drop off and kind of there's a valley below that. That's kind of what it looks like, but not 100%. Oh, it's gonna work for now. I think it'll work for now. Um, so right now, if we were to render this scene right here, we could do, let's see here, we could go, let's see what we're at. 4.8 on the GPU, so that's nice. In the Nvidia Ira. So I feel like we can, let's try this. Let's hit render. We're not going to render it all the way. We're just going to get it started and we're going to see how much it's using. First of all, let's save it. Come on, James. Got to remember to save, especially with this program. All right, so we're going to try to render that scene. Oh, it's not showing that. So let's do this. Let's add a source. We're going to call this the render. Yep. Cool. So it's rendering. And we are, let's see what our numbers are at. We're at 77, so we're not at 100% CPU. We're at, oh yeah. Dude, this is going to be okay, I think. Be able to make this happen. So we just wanted to kind of see what that looked like. Yes on that. All right, so let's do another thing we want to do. We got our 2 and 1 there. We got the tone map settings at a 13. So that's fairly bright, but not too bright. I have to decide how much lighting I want inside this tent because I'm gonna have to do some post work on this to get this to work right. Because when I render the chick in this, she's gonna have a lot of light on her, and so I'm gonna have to darken her to make her look right within this. And I'm not too like this is my thing is I'm trying to tell a story in this, and so I'm not worried about having it look too perfect when it comes to lighting and stuff like that. It's more important to me that we, the people are able to see the facial expressions and all that type of stuff. So what I'm thinking is that no matter what happens here, we're gonna have some good lighting on like these pillows and on this blanket. The tent sides or the inside of the tents are not going to be lit very well, and it is what it is. Um, and I think that's realistic. I mean, if the light's coming from out there, unless if she's got some kind of like torch or something in here, um, which is, you know what? I think I have a. Do I have a torch? I swear. I have a torch in here somewhere. Oh. I don't, you know what? I'm not going to mess with it right now. So, yeah, that's pretty much, okay, so for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you what I'm going to do just to make this look right. So we're going to do one where she's sitting up. I still have to create the general that's going to be coming to her to tell her the news that some other people showed up on this world. And give her bad news. So he's going to be giving her bad news. But so for right now, what I want to do is I want to render this out like this. And then that as long as it doesn't kick up on that kick up to mostly CPU, we should be okay. And I'm also not going to be doing a really high definition of this. I'm going to render this just enough to be able to kind of show you my workflow. And then when this is done, I'm going to quit for just a minute. Okay, so now, so this is where I'm going to worry just a little bit here. See, now, this may actually work out decent, because I can show you a little bit more of what opportunities that we have. So it's up to 100% CPU, which means it's just basically going to take forever to render. So we're going to stop this render. Yes. So this right here, just to show her sitting up in here, because I only have 6 gigabytes of VRAM, is going to be 3 images. So basically what we're going to do here is we are going to hide the instant grass. We're going to hide the trees. We are going to, oh yeah, not using the spotlight, so let's turn that off. Palm tree group, we're going to hide. And then we're going to go back to render settings and environment. And we are going to turn draw dome off. Why is it? Okay, hold on just a second. Yeah, that tree shouldn't be there. So basically, all the grass and stuff like that, I'm going to be rendering this as it's going to be a PNG. So I'm going to render this scene right here. And it should, just because it's just the tent scene and that's it, it should be able to, yeah, it's only at 2.7. Oh no, come on. Why are you at 100% CPU? No, do not do this. Why? Boom. Okay, cool. It dropped. Yep, it dropped down. The CPU dropped, which means that it's not rendering the GPU. It's rendering off of or it's not rendering off the CPU. It's rendering off the GPU, which is awesome. Boom. Is it not showing the render that I got going? Hold on just a second. That doesn't make any sense. Let me see if I can make that show. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if I'm just going to have to do that as a... it's just... Ooh, is it doing it now? Okay, there we go. Now it's showing. So right now we've got our scene rendering there. And I think that's enough. I think we rendered that enough to kind of show for what I'm doing on this. So would you like to cancel this render? Yes. Let that settle for a second. I'm going to save this. I'm going to call this tent and blankets scene 2. We are going to go in here and we're going to create so we have, this was all tent scene 1. So what we want to do is we want to definitely create a new folder. We want to keep this as organized as possible, because that's my problem, is I'm not organized. Scene 2, tents and blankets scene 2, tent scene 2. Oops. And select folder and save. Sweet. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into Dev Studio. We are going to hide the tent group. So now we have an empty scene, and we're going to bring up the trees, the grass, the palm tree group, and then we are going to go back here and we're going to put draw dome on. Go to Nvidia Ira Preview. This should definitely not be tax the GPU much at all, hopefully. Once that's settled, we'll hit render on that. And then we're just going to take that image we just got done and we're going to put that on top of this one. And it'll look like that stuff is on the outside. And the thing is, on that scene that image I just got done, this blue lighting from the sky is still coming through that image I just did. It's just not in the image, so it's still getting the lighting without actually showing the image of the sky. So, which is exactly what I wanted there. So what we'll do is we will go here and we're going to hit render. And then the last thing we're going to do, and then I'm going to get off here, and then I'm going to start working on making the general, elf general guy, creating him, is we are going to then render Princess Fenora. So let's see, is this going to settle? It's still 100% geo. Wow. I have to admit, I'm a little bit surprised that this right here has this much, is taking up this much VRAM. I'm a little bit taken aback on it. Because it's just, yeah, I don't think it's even started. It is, wow. So that's not even worth even trying to do yet. So we're going to try a couple little things to try to get this to work. We're going to cancel that render. We're going to save the scene. Let's go here. Let's go here. Texture shaded. We're going to look at our VRAM usage is at 2.6. So what we're going to do is we're going to close down Daz Studio. We're going to let it settle for a few seconds, about 10 seconds. And then we're going to bring Daz Studio back up. And we're going to see where that dedicated GPU memory is going to be at when we reopen it. It's really weird how you kind of have to do that. Sometimes you just have to shut down Daz, let everything settle, and then bring it back up. So we're going to bring it back up. Hopefully, when we reload that scene, it's using less VRAM. Or I'm just going to have to take the trees and render them by themselves. And then do the sky and the grass as another image. This might end up being like, what, 4? 5 images just to get this one thing done. And it does suck, but that's where I've learned that if I want to portray a scene and have multiple images in it, because you don't want the people watching or looking at your video, if you're making a video and getting too bored, you want to have a lot of images, which means that you're just going to have a few of them with the same exact woohoo! Thank you, Isaiah. I appreciate it. But yeah, if you have low VRAM like I do, and you want to be able to put together these complex scenes, you just got to work with what you have, and that means in some of these getting creative with how you set up the scenes. I've also learned that I really have to, during dialogue, like when I'm showing like words on the screen or whatever, do much closer shots. So when I set up this scene, there's going to be an establishment shot, which is going to show the princess sitting in the tent and then the general outside the tent. And then I'll probably move the general inside the tent just barely. I think that's probably going to work better. And then it's going to be probably close-up shots. So when she's talking, it'll show her. And what I'll do is I'll have her, I mean, when you see people talk about setting up, shots of people or whatever, you want them in the center of the screen. But considering that I'm going to be doing this as a video and there's going to be dialogue showing on the sides of the screen, I'm not going to quite do that. So what I'll do is I will have her or whoever's talking. So when it's her talking, I'll have her on the left side of the screen so she's looking to the right. And then I'll use a vignette. I think it's called a vignette. Shadows. And so she'll be lit, and then as it goes farther out, it'll get darker and darker. And then that's going to allow me to put the white dialogue and words and stuff like that on the screen and have them pop out. So let's see. We are now at 0.5 on the dedicated GPU. Let's go to Nvidia Ira Preview. And we're going to see if we can render this image once again while I'm also streaming. So I'm using up some of my computer power. Not a whole lot of GPUs, so I don't think me streaming is really going to affect that so much, but it probably does just a little bit. The difference between it kicking to CPU or staying on the GPU could literally be a 0.1 GPU usage on my video card. And once it kicks to CPU rendering, it takes 10 times, 20 times longer to render a scene, if you can even render it. Sometimes there's just too much in that scene you can't render it at all. So we're gonna hit. Let's look at here. We're at 4.0. Right in my 4.0. Let's see what we got. Man, let's see what it's kicking up to. If after a minute it hasn't started rendering, then I know that I'm going to have to change this up just a little bit. I'm probably going to have to do this as one more image than what I wanted to. And really, it'll be all good. It won't be that big of a deal. So yeah, yep. If it's taking this long and it's at 100% CPU, 5.5 on the GPU, it's just not going to render for me. So let's get this. Would you like to cancel render? Yes. No reason to save. Don't need to save just a black image. So we are going to do just the trees as one. And we're going to do the grass and the sky as another. So start with the grass and the sky. Let's hide the palm tree group. Let's hide these two trees. And I do need to remember to not show the sky when I do the trees. Otherwise, it's not going to look right. Oh, let's see here. Those trees probably aren't there. It's just kind of showing them. All right. All right, let's render this. Let's cross our fingers, because if this doesn't work, well, because the HDRI behind it isn't going to make a difference. I mean, there's no way that I can't render just the grass. And if that's the case, then that means I am gonna, there's no way that there's that much information just in this grass, because basically the only thing that's really, the only information, well, it's already starting to render, so that's a good sign. And we're only at 74% CPU, 2.7 GPU, so we should be good here. The only thing that's technically rendering right now is just or that's using GPU usage for the most part is just the grass. This HDRI is using a little bit, but not much. And this is the other thing too, is like when you're making these images, you're going to use a blur on some of the background anyways. So this doesn't, like right here, this doesn't need to look really, really detailed. Like I could probably get, what are we at? We're at 6. Wow, that's going way slow. We're at 6 iterations. We're probably like, if I get that to 20, I'll probably feel pretty good about it. Even that's going to take a little while though. It should speed up just a little bit. As you go, as it's going, it'll start rendering quicker. Because it's all it's doing is it's just detailing it right now. That might actually be good enough. And the thing is, I could probably, in a lot of scenes, use this right here, just this image, without having to re-render this again. Depending on how I just build the scenes. All right, so we're gonna say we're good on that. Yes. And we should still be in the right folder. Yep, 10 scene 2. And we're gonna call this the sky and grass. And that's saved. So now we have just 2 more renders on this image that we're doing. So we're gonna get rid of grass. We're gonna bring in the trees. And then we are going to draw dome off. And let's render this bad boy. I'm really hoping that this part freaking renders quicker. Once again, it's everything, all this stuff is going to be in the background. I don't need it to be highly detailed, because I'm going to use a blur on that part of it anyway, so that I can have much more focus on the people speaking or whatever. And if you notice this, I've draw ground. I think I have draw ground on, right? I must, because it's showing shadows. So we have the shadows from the trees here, and those are we're gonna see those on the grass when we layer these images. Actually, let's go in there. Let's layer some images. So this is one scene I was working on. Let's hide some of those. We are going to open its layers, and we're going to go to renders between worlds, 10 scene 2, and let's load these 2 in. Yeah. So if you notice, I mean, that's 2 images put together. We can hide the tent. We can hide that. I think it looks pretty good. You know, there's a little rip in the tent right there, which is cool. I like that because it kind of adds a little bit more to it. We got a little area down there in the grass. Got a little grass showing in there. So what we'll do is we'll have the trees and stuff like that they'll be above or in front of the sky and grass, but behind the tent. And then Princess Venora will be in the front image of this. Oh yeah. So if you notice, we only got to like 13 iterations on that grass. That grass must be much higher resolution than what I thought it was. So I'm okay with that. Well, we'll be okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Let's go ahead. Rona. And we're gonna call this the trees. That's nice and simple. Let's, while we're doing that, while we're adding those to the image, let's just go ahead and we might as well take the princess and render her out too. Now this is where we're gonna, you know, I have to decide how much post work I want to do on her. So there's no tent to shade her at all. So that's going to be way, way, way too bright. We don't need that much light on her. So we're going to go to tone mapping. We are going to go to exposure value. We're going to up that. We up the tone mapping, then exposure value goes up. So if you notice that there's a shadow that's coming at her right there, we do want her to have a shadow, but if we remember right, if we look at, let's open it, let's put the tent there again. Oops. Light's coming this way, so if there's shadow, we want it back here somewhere. So we're gonna see if we can fake this till we make it. And a part of the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna rotate the dome and see, rotate dome. Let's see if we can get that shadow to go elsewhere. Let's see here. I want that shadow to go either behind her or disappear. See, now that, you know what, this is going to work, because if you look at it, it's definitely, you got a little bit of shadow here. I think I might want it just a little bit more on that pillow, though. And it's funny because obviously that pillow, when I render this, that pillow really isn't there. I don't know why it's showing in the Nvidia Ira Preview right now, because we hid that. But it's kind of helping right here because I'm able to kind of see the shadows and where it's going to be. So let's go. Rotate. Yep, perfect. So we know the tent is letting light in here. The light's coming at her. We got shadow back there. That's about perfect. Should I maybe bring the intensity down just a little bit? Yeah, I think that's gonna work. So let's do this. Let's go. Let's see if I'm right. That pillow should not be in that. All right, first of all, let's save. My dumbass forgets to save all the time, and then I lose like 20 minutes worth of work. All right, let's hit render, and then we'll see. That pillow should not be in this render. If it is, then we'll have to go in and make an adjustment. But let's see what's going on with, oh yeah, I need to go in here and show the render. Yep, pillow's not there. It's kind of interesting. I don't see the shadow there. I wonder if I should bring. I wonder if it would be too taxing to bring those pillows in. Oh, it's 100% GPU. Yeah, I definitely cannot bring. I can't bring anything else into the scene. This is gonna be a longer render anyways, just because I'm at 100% CPU, 94% RAM, 5.6 on the dedicated GPU. So I also realized that this image I'm gonna have to redo anyways, because she is, yeah, so there's some clipping. I think her feet are coming through her thing there. I should have simulated this scene, and when I simulated it, her sleeves and stuff like that would come down. So this, I guess if she just turned around and was, kind of in movement, maybe all that stuff would come up, but otherwise it looks a little weird on that. So let's see here. That's actually not looking horrible. See, this is the crazy thing. I'm rendering basically CPU rendering, and it's still looking pretty decent. Got a little bit of noise in there. sucks. And the whole thing is I'm going to have to come in here and redo this scene anyways because um unfortunately this character model that I created here has too much detail to her, and it's very tough for me to get full body renders out of her because she just uses up a crap load of GPU. I'm a little worried. It's just not. I'm wondering if there is shadow information like behind her that I'm just not seeing. I thought we had it in there. Yeah, because what I'll do is when I do closer shots, I'll actually hide her legs. I'll probably hide from her pelvis on down on those shots, and then that'll clear up a bunch of GPU. All right, we're gonna stop this render just so we can get this final image, kind of see how it's looking, and we're just gonna call this Venora sitting. We'll save that bad boy. And we'll go back to our GIMP and we're going to take and we're going to see, hopefully this is settling right now. Let's go back to texture shaded. And let's open his layers. All right, so we got that now, and I think, you know, the only issues I'm having right now is that she, and you know what, and she is, I mean, some of that light is being blocked from back here by her. I'm fairly okay with that. You know, once again, for me, it's about telling the story, so I'm not 100% worried about like it looking bad. or you know, the shadows and stuff like that. I think that's gonna do. Oh yeah, we gotta add our trees. Let's get our trees in there. Those are gonna have to go behind the tent. Yeah. You know, and you got, since that light's coming from that direction, you got the little shadows there. I could definitely maybe for just a little bit. Let's go to the Venora. Let's see what we could do with some. Let's go colors. Let's go. Yes, a contrast. Let's do slightly darker. Yeah, much better. Much better. Let's bring out some of the blacks in this just a little bit. Exposure. Let's bring out some black level. Also some of the... Okay. I think I'm okay with that. Like, it's, you know, I brought out the blacks so you could tell. I mean, the sun's coming in here, lighting up part of her. I actually think that's a pretty good looking image. To be honest with you, I could do a couple other little things. Let's go. Let's enhance. Let's. Oh yeah. I don't want to enhance all of her. Let's go here. Let's just do just her face and her hair, like the top of her hair. Go here. Let's go enhance. Um, Sharpen. Maybe not that much. Just a little bit. Almost wanna use saturation. See if this does any yellows. Kind of want to lighten her skin up just a little bit. So, and take the reds and maybe. No, oh, definitely don't want to mess with the lightness on it. A little bit more of the red colors. Let's see. No, I don't know that. Ooh, nope, nope. Definitely don't want to bring those out. Let's see what I can bring. Blues. You know, maybe. Maybe make those blues pop just a little bit, but I don't think it needs to be much. Do this okay. Let's see. Let's mess with the grass a little bit. Go hue. Let's go with the greens. I'm surprised why that's not really changing. Not the yellows that it's interesting. See if I can get. Let's see if I can denoise just a little bit. Let's go filters and noise reduction. Yeah, I hate to do it because it's going to get rid of a little bit of a detail, but I think the noise reduction there is definitely going to help out. But that's it. That's all I got for right now. I think on this next one, I'm not going to be able to do this as a live stream. I'll just have to record it and then show the video later because obviously my computer's not going to be able to handle doing all this. Yeah. I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. I'll get to that 1,000. Anyways, that's all I got for right now. I'm going to be working on, I'll probably just record it and then put up a video. I'm going to create the general that's going to be talking to her in this scene. And then when I'm done with that, I will just put him within the scene. I'll put him outside here to add depth. I'll probably have him, like part of him hiding behind the pole. Maybe if he's coming here and talking to her, maybe I'll have him crouching down a little bit. So maybe just a little bit of his head will be hiding behind the tent. But it'll be look kind of cool. No, I'm not gonna play tonight, I don't think. I'm gonna be working on some of my stuff, so. But anyways, all right, I will talk to you all later. Have a great night.